Hi and Assalamualaikum to Sir Shafiq and Madam Fariza. Today, my group will present our project assignment, which is common problems that ASEAN 4 needs to resolve. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Iziaty binti ENDOK.
Assalamualaikum, my name is SAKINA binti ZAINURI.
Hi, my name is TUAN NAZIHAH binti TUAN YAACOB.
My name is Muhammad Ali HAIKAL bin Muhammad SYUKRI.
Hi, my name is Muhammad AIMAN bin FAUJAN.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations is an organization of countries in Southeast Asia. ASEAN was established on 8 August 1967 in Bangkok, Thailand. The countries that are the fathers of ASEAN are Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore and Thailand. ASEAN was established because of the similarity of its founding countries, which at that time were both newly separated from the colonies except Thailand. ASEAN was established to speed up financial development, social advancement, and social improvement in the area through joint efforts in the soul of equity and kinship to reinforce the establishment of a progress and tranquil society of Southeast Asian countries. This is also done to promote active cooperation and mutual assistance in the issue of shared interest in the monetary, social, specialized, scientific and administration. ASEAN also consists ASEAN 4, which is referred to Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia and Philippines. ASEAN 4 only focus on economic growth in their country as it is a very important indicator to assess economic performance, especially to examine the result of financial improvement measure in a nation or districts to make better monetary development, particularly a non-industrial nation in ASEAN.
As my friend mentioned just now, in part of the introduction, ASEAN 4 refer to 4 countries, which are Malaysia, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Thailand. For the first common problem that I chose, it was happening in the Philippines and how the Philippines resolved the problems. Common problems in the Philippines is natural disaster. Natural disasters are categorized as the real occurring of a natural event that results for hard aggravation and misfortune, like harm to individuals and damage to the properties. In the Philippines, natural disasters such as floods, typhoons, and droughts additionally happen or first time because of their geographical setting and physical environment. Last year, the country experienced a volcanic eruption, a series of major earthquakes and typhoons immersed more than 60 towns and urban areas. More than 20 typhoons take place every year in the Philippines. Perhaps one of the most powerful tropical cyclones ever recorded in the Philippines is Typhoon Haiyan in 2013. It causes colossal harm when it made landfall in the Philippines. On 2020, the Philippines was hit by Typhoon Goni, a storm as strong as Haiyan. Also, this year in 2021, the Philippines has been hit by the typhoon hurricane known as Iziaty in the Philippines. As we realize that the Philippines is quite possibly the most disaster-prone country in the world. Okay, after this, I have provided one of the videos that were hit in the Philippines by Typhoon Haiyan, so let's watch it.
This is what it feels like inside a super typhoon. The waves crashing, camera shaking as 15 crew members who were working on a barge are just barely rescued from the turbulent ocean. Super Typhoon Haiyan raced across the Philippine Islands, kicking waves up to 19 feet high, winds up to 195 miles per hour. Power lines shredded, leaving millions unable to communicate. And tonight, we dive into the eye of the storm. Those winds so intense, this storm will likely go down as the strongest to make landfall. But how is that wind speed measured? It's an estimate made by satellite.
The solution to solve natural disaster in the Philippines is by provide squid financing. For me, this is not totally solution that will solve natural disaster, but it's just a preparedness made by the Philippines to overcome the natural disaster in the future. The Philippines has dispatched a new catastrophe risk insurance program to protect national and local government organizations against the financial losses from serious catastrophic events. Under this program, government-owned insurance agency government service insurance system, known as GSIS, will give disaster hazard insurance to the national government and the participating provinces. The insurance program is a piece of the government overall disaster risk finance methodology to strengthen national and local ability to react promptly and effectively to natural disaster. The Philippines' new catastrophe risk insurance program represents the kind of exertion a few worldwide drive are hoping to increase to further risk finance and insurance instruments and to reinforce cooperation toward financial protection against natural disaster.
Next, it can be referred to the following Asian countries, namely Malaysia. Among the problems faced by the country is about the influx of illegal entry of foreigners. As we all know, the arrival of the group to our country is not something foreign, but also the main focus of the country is curbing the issue from lingering. The definition for this migration is the transfer of an individual across the boundaries of one of the unit of the area. It refers to the definition of a figure that is Usman on 1989. It can be seen when Malaysia is going through a phase of rapid growth in terms of economy and national development, which is a factor in increasing the rate of foreign migration to Malaysia. Following the economic boom experienced by Malaysia since the 1980 and also 1990. Among the factors that contribute to the growth of the group is due to the problem in the economic aspect in the country of origin of the immigrants. This is because the more the economy of a country deteriorates, the less the quantity of job offered to their people. Therefore, the country will experience a bitter situation when unemployment and poverty are increasing, and it will be difficult for the country to curb every problem faced by their people. So, as a result of this problem, it forced their people to move to a more developed environment so that they can continue to survive for a longer period. For example, the focus of their visit is in Malaysia, as well as in 1998, Malaysia was estimated to be a destination for 1.8 million foreign workers, which most coming from Indonesia, Bangladesh, and also Philippines. The existence of such cluster can usually be seen in the manufacturing sector, plantation, construction, service, and in the restaurant, laundry or cleaning, cargo handling, and so on. Apart from that, the factors that also lead to the existence of foreign immigrants to Malaysia are due to the similarities in culture, religion, and also language. This can be illustrated when the cultures applied by the entire society in Malaysia have many similarities in the aspect mentioned earlier with the society in neighboring countries such as Indonesia, Thailand, and so on. But can be seen in the current situation in our country, almost 80% of immigrants who come to the country Muslim. As it is known, Malaysia is a country that makes Islam the official religion in the country, and the majority of the population here are Muslim, especially among the locals themselves. In fact, in terms of the use of the Malay language play a role in right to a pull factor to the group of immigrants themselves, since the use of the language is a language that is easily understood and studied mainly immigrants from Indonesia as a country that is very close and has much in common with our country. Referring to the above problems, following from the issue of the influx of foreign immigration into Malaysia, there are several solutions that can be laid out in an effort to address this issue from continuing to linger so as to invite a lot of negativity to the growth of the country's progress. First, the effort that can be taken by the government in curbing the growth of their group is to enact and tighten the national law related to the recruitment of foreign workers in our country. As well as this is the right time to use force and be assertive in defending the country from being damaged and boxed in by uninvited residents who intend to settle here illegally. Therefore, stricter action and punishment for each offence should be increased to the maximum amount and the duration of punishment imposed. It encourages to warn and awareness to all employers out there in considering their action to take foreign workers into the business sector nor their company. This can be described according to the list of punishment that will be received by employers and foreign workers illegally based on the Immigration Act 1989/63. Next is the government's effort to give a deeper focus on levy fees, visa bond, and also permits that will be imposed on employers if they want to hire foreign workers to serve in their enterprise organization by increasing it to the maximum acceptable amount and be enough. The aftermath of the problem faced by the government when the payment and collection of such permits become government revenue cannot be denied, yet the cost incurred to protect them and other issues cannot be treated. It refers to the statement that the cost of protecting them while living and working in the country includes detention and imprisonment is more than the collection fees and permits collected to bring and pick them up. Therefore, the effort can give awareness to employers to prioritize local workers over foreign workers, as well as in an effort to reduce the rising unemployment rate following the higher demand from employers who like to hire foreign workers because it is more profitable to the party, thus the cheaper wage value bidders by the group.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I want to talk about the common problem in the Indonesia. Firstly, Indonesia new criminal codes. Indonesia has been working on updating its colonial era criminal code for decades. Now, Indonesia Parliament is discussing a new draft code with a raft of problematic provision that will be disastrous for women and minorities, and for many Indonesia in general. The new code proposed the punish extramarital sex with up to 1 year in jail, and a married couple who live together with 6 months. Consensual sex between adults should never be a crime, and his law will disproportionately affect lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, as known as the LGBT peoples. Okay, secondly is defense minister implicates in abuse. Imagine what will happen if an Australian soldier discharged from the military for human rights abuse and disobeying orders become our defense minister. That is actually what has happened in Indonesia. When last year Jokowi appointed his presidential opponent Prabowo Subianto to the post, President Jokowi has another 4 years to take concerned steps to protect the human rights and freedom for all Indonesians. But unless he takes steps to stop the backsliding, Indonesia may face much bigger social and political. I want to explain about the solution of the common problems. Okay, The first solution is draft criminal code disastrous for right in the Indonesia Parliament. Okay, Indonesia Parliament should propose new criminal code to meet international human rights standards. Human Rights Watch said today the current bills contains article that will violate the right of human, religious minorities, and lesbian, gays, bisexual, and transgender people, as well as freedom of speech and association. Okay, for the second solution is about the US resume military assistance to abuse force. The Obama administration decision to lift a more than decade-long ban on US military assistance. The US military assistance to Indonesia abuse special force seriously undermines its commitment to promoting respect for human rights in Indonesia. Weakens US standard for military cooperation globally.
First common problem is for the Thailand is the economy of Thailand fall down after lockdown. As I know, Thailand has successfully contained the wave of COVID-19 infection from most of 2020. During the pandemic, Thailand can control the COVID-19 outbreak. But somehow the economy of Thailand fall down after lockdown, which is the economic shock leading to widespread unemployment, affecting middle class family and the poor, and also the threatening the result of the poverty reduction. Due to declining external demand affecting trade and tourism, which is the Thailand's economy growth slow to 6.1%. The COVID-19 outbreak was brought some additional challenge to the job market. The main impact is the rising unemployment rate, which is double from 1% in the first year of 2019 to 2% in the second quarter of 2020. Okay, for the second point is about the Thailand environment condition during the rapid economic development. Thailand is a country that is rich in natural resources and has played an important role in supporting local livelihood, so it's promoting economic growth. Okay. However, the rapid economic development of recent decades is often achieved through the unstable development of the natural resource. In many cases, economic priority tends to prevail over protection. Thailand has facing increasing of the environmental deprivation in many areas, including the loss of biodiversity. Okay, for the third point of the common problem in Thailand is the worker of the prostitution. In Thailand, most poverty caused by wages, especially women's wages, and debt that require them to doing the prostitution in Thailand. Everyone's source of dependence is family support. For the most Thailand prostitutes who grow up in a very harsh environment, they see prostitution as a shortcut and a quickly success job. In addition, most sex workers has little education, and in a desperate situation, they need to earn much money as possible because they have multiply member financial support. Okay, for the solution of the common problem in Thailand. The first one is Thailand's policy has responded to take action for promote the economic activity and supporting the livelihood, which is Thailand policy has doing their job to focus providing a 1 trillion baht package to fund cash transfer, medical response and economic and also social rehabilitation. By providing those facilities, there are some of the business can be running again from being shut down. In addition, there are a new large-scale cash transfer program has been established to support defenseless group that cannot be covered by the existing social assistance. At least Thailand can also improve their economic system and also recover from the economic issue. Okay, for the next solution is by achieving sustainable development result. Okay, by achieving sustainable development result, it is important to understand that the balance between economic growth and environmental value, which is economic growth and environmental value must be balanced to make progress toward the improvement of the better ecosystem. Thailand use many tools to access the provision of ecosystem service and can make informed decisions about the impact of the environmental impact. For example, cost-benefit analysis and ecosystem valuation tool has been used to provide information for the design of payment for ecosystem service plan that promote environmental protection. Okay, for the next solution is main focus for the prostitute, which is prostitute were labeled by the people are shameful. However, Thai people have to accept that prostitution in cities like Bangkok is not false and predictable, but the reality of seeking solutions, as long as anti-prostitution laws are not properly enforced to solve prostitution problems such as prohibition and legalization, it will be difficult to change the view of Thailand as the commercial sex industry. It's also not about the law, but society also need to recognize the effect of the prostitution on women. By reducing pornography and making television and other entertainment programs safer to change society attitude toward the prostitution. It is because this factor can help young people to see girls and women as commodities. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, in conclusion, ASEAN PON also faces many problems that arise in their country that to some extent hinder them to increase economic growth. Nevertheless, every problem that arises is not an obstacle for them to achieve what is desired to develop their country, especially in economic growth, because this problem will give experience to every country on how to solve every problem that arises. In all the problems that arise, the government must also play their role in promoting economic growth because they have the power to formulate a policy. This will to some extent their countries to no longer faces the same problems in focusing on economic growth in every country, especially ASEAN 4.